Now before we go any further, I recommend that we save our workbook. And you can see up here on the title bar the generic name, that is until we save it and give it a new name. And to save it, let's come over here and click on the Save button on the Quick Access toolbar. And if this is the first time you're saving your workbook, it performs a Save As, where it's going to ask two questions. Where do you want to save it? And you can come over here in the navigation pane and let's go to the desktop, and then over in the main window on the desktop, find the folder, double click on it, and we can save it here. It's going to be in my exercises folder. And then the second question is, what name do you want to give it? You can keep it as the generic name Book 1, or let's do my Spiffy Worksheet, Workbook, Database, whatever you want to call it. And then the other option, if you want, you can actually change it and convert it from an Excel workbook, well, to PDF if you have it there, as well as an earlier version of Excel, which I don't recommend if you can avoid it, because the earlier version is a lot larger. In other words, it doesn't use a zip compression like the later versions of Excel do, Excel 2007, 2010, and 2013. And also, the later versions have an improved recovery, so if something happens to the file, you got a better chance of opening it up if the file's damaged in the later versions of Excel than, well, 97 through 2003, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and click off of it and just leave it as Excel Workbook, which is the latest version, and then just go ahead and click Save. And you can see up here in the title bar, it updates it from the generic name to My Spiffy Worksheet. Cool. So any changes that I make here, like if I update this and say, whoops, it's supposed to be 700, hit enter, and then I come up here to save it, it's not going to perform a Save As because it already knows the name of the workbook, My Spiffy, and where it's going to be saved. And it goes right to it, which is in the exercises folder on the desktop. Which brings up a good point. What if I want to go ahead and create a copy of this? You can come up here, and of course, instead of clicking Save, which just saves it back to the original file, you want to do a Save As, or bring that Save As window back up. You can click on the File tab and go backstage to Save As, or let me click back. I added that command to my Quick Access toolbar, click on Save As, and it brings open the window where I can go ahead to make a copy of it. Just, well, it's My Spiffy Worksheet, and then type in, this is a copy. Click Save. And now it updates, and I'm in the copy, so if I don't want to be in the copy, but I just want a copy of it, then I want to close out of here and go back to my original My Spiffy Worksheet. So if I close out of here, and I open up the exercises folder on my desktop, double click, there's the original and there's the worksheet copy. And so I can go ahead and double click to open that up, or let me go ahead and close out. If you have the program pinned down to the taskbar like I do, as we learned in an earlier training video, just right click on it to get the jump list, and there's My Spiffy Worksheet. And you can see when I hover over it, you got the address in the pop-up. So it's on the C drive there. In any case, there it is again. On the desktop in the exercises folder, click on it. Cool. And by the way, if you want to close out of the worksheet but not out of the program here, there's a couple ways you can do it. You can either come up here and click on the File tab and go down to Close. And there you go. The program's still open, but the workbook has been closed. Or, let me go ahead and open it back up. You can right-click down below and, come back up here to My Spiffy Worksheet, or click on the File tab. Let me click on it. And the default's open. Over here it's got the recent workbooks that I've been working on. And there it is, My Spiffy Worksheet. Click on that to open it back up, and that's good. So I can show you the shortcut key is Control W. That also closes the workbook without closing the entire program. Now keep in mind when I talk about the worksheet or the workbook, well, a workbook has sheets in it. Every Excel file is a workbook, and within that Excel file, you got at least one worksheet, or even more. It just depends on how many worksheets you want to add to it, which we'll go over in a later training video. Let me go ahead and open up that workbook again real quick. Click on the File tab, and when you hover over the recent workbooks, you see that little push pin right there? Instead of having this kind of cycle through if you haven't opened it up recently and it's not in the top, 5 here, instead of coming over here to the computer and then browsing out to find it, let me go ahead and click back and then File and try it again. You can actually click on the push pin to say that that will always stay there. And it doesn't have to be a recent workbook. You can actually open up 20 other workbooks and this will always stay there. These down below will just be the most recent ones, but this one you always have available, so you don't have to go out and find it or have it as one of the recent ones to be listed here. Then of course you can go ahead and unpin it, and when you do that, the line that's separating besides those that are going to be permanently there, and those that are most recent disappears, and it becomes, if it's one of the most recent ones, well, part of the other recent workbooks. So let me click on it to open it up, and cool.